The recess has ended, and I'll call this Grant County Commissioners' regular meeting to order. It's Monday, June the 1st. It's 10:01 a.m. We'll have the prayer led by Mr. Hicks with the Pledge of Allegiance led by myself. If you would stand.
Let's pray. Dear Father, we thank you for the day. We thank you for allowing us to gather today. Go over preside with us over the business. Lead guys and keep us direct. Amen. Pray. Amen.
Face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move on to the consent agenda. We have pre-approved claims, regular claims, minutes, and payroll. Are there any questions regarding the consent agenda? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Stewart, a second from Commissioner Poling to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move on to monthly and annual reports. I don't see any in the packet today. We'll move on to item 5, communications and board updates. Are there any elected officials or boards that represent the commissioners that wish to address us? If you would come to the podium. Okay, I don't see anybody. We'll move on to item number 7, the EMA report. Mr. Jackson.
Good morning.
Morning.
A few things to talk about this morning. I'll give you an update on what we know about storm damage and those kind of things from Thursday evening. First, let me say that we know that there was a delay in activating the sirens on Thursday evening. Mr. Hicks and I are digging into that already, and we'll get to the root cause of that, make sure that that does not happen again in the future. That it's important that that be timely. So we get that, and we're working on it. We have conducted initial storm damage assessments. I sent some of those initial reports to the commissioners and some of our elected officials as well already. We'll continue to do that for the next few days. I think as people continue to clean their properties, we're mainly looking at what we are required to report to Department of Homeland Security is property damage, residential property damage. So we've been out there doing that, and we'll continue for the next few days. So just some of the, I've had some conversation with the National Weather Service. There was several places in Grant County that had rotation, but rotation doesn't always equal tornado. So we know a lot of people were a little perplexed by that, but we've not had any evidence yet that we've actually had a tornado on the ground. The Weather Service has not been here in person to do a survey. That may or may not happen, but we'll let you know if that changes. But we did have a wide area of damage throughout Grant County, about 220 square miles. So we were trying to cover all that, get damage assessments. So it took quite a while, still taking quite a while. I&M reported that over 2,000 customers at one point, and probably at the height of the outage, 2,000 customers in Grant County were without power. Some of those did not get restored until late Saturday evening, so that was quite lengthy for some folks. Addition to that, we had at one point at least 18 different roads closed in Grant County that the county officials had closed. That's not counting some of the utility companies that had things closed as well. We know that that can cause issues for folks trying to get around the county, but we appreciate their help in that. Some agencies involved in their response and recovery, Grant County Highway Department, I'm not sure they're here today, but they did most of the heavy lifting. We had lots and lots of huge trees across the roadway, so those guys were out a lot, cutting that up and moving and cleaning the roadways. Grant County Sheriff's Office and all local PDs really, I think at some point somebody was out trying to clear a road or check on people. All local fire departments, Grant County EMA as well. Brings us to debris management, which we have a debris management plan. After talking to Mr. White this morning, what we'd like to ask from the commissioners is approval for local residents that have storm debris, vegetation. We want to stress this is vegetation, this is not structural debris, that they be allowed to bring that to the Grant County Highway Department, and then they can take care of it from there. I can tell you there's a lot out there. The Highway Department, I don't want to speak for Mr. White, but I know that they're busy and really don't have time to come pick that up. But if folks can bring it to the Highway Department, if commissioners approve, we can let them do that for free until the end of the month, June 30th. Just a cap on that.
I think it should be longer.
Go a little longer. I mean,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Had a lot of trees.
Middle of July.
Yeah,
Like a month
you know,
from, just give it a month.
What do you think? What do you think, Dave?
What's that?
Give them a little bit longer than until the end of the month, you know what I mean?
I'm fine with that, if you want to go to the middle of July or whatever.
Yeah.
works.
I just want to stress that is residents. That's not open to commercial guys coming and dumping. That's a different situation.
That's fine, yeah.
Okay, very good. I think that's all I have unless you have some questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the Central Dispatch Report, Mr. Hicks.
Good morning. Our month-to-date stats so far this month, effective this morning, we had 553 EMS calls, 420 fire calls, 4,781 police calls. We dispatched Grant County EMA for 13 calls, and since dispatch processed 379 calls for service. We do have one staff opening. And we do have interviews scheduled for the 17th and 18th of this month to fill that. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to item number 9, the IT report, Mr. Elliott.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
So the only item I have for you this morning is a quote from AppTech. So, you gentlemen approached me with, getting the first floor of the courthouse set up at the door. And so I went and got pricing for that. And it was also brought to my attention, we also needed 2 indoor cameras. So basically we
We have to have one outside, right? For the
Right,
stairs.
so for the courthouse stuff, it's 2 viewing stations and 1 exterior camera
Yep.
for them, just to get them all set up.
I'm fine with it. This is open that south door.
Because I met
We
with,
have a metal detector already.
I met with Chris Dotson, who's head of the courthouse security, and he was fine with replicating the setup that was downstairs, so.
I talked to the sheriff.
I would just approve it. I'm going to ask for the funds at the council meeting on Wednesday night.
Okay.
Any approval.
So we need to vote on
Yeah.
it. So moved.
I'll second. I have a motion from Commissioner Polling, a second from Commissioner Stewart to approve the purchase of the security system and cameras. The total amount's $6,892.96. Pending the council's approval. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
That's all I have. Do you gentlemen have any other requests or needs from me?
How long do you think it'll take to get that equipment?
It's usually pretty quick, because they're down, I think, in Indy or Fort Wayne. So they usually ship it out a couple days after we order it.
Yeah, I'd like the maintenance, go ahead and move that metal detector up there in place. And then Marcus has a desk for it.
Yeah, we have a little stand that we got from the sheriff's department many months ago. That'd be perfect for it.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to item number 10, the highway department. Mr. White. Morning.
Like Bob said, we spent most of the weekend cleaning up on debris, and there was a lot of numerous big trees that were down this time. So we got the roadways all opened up, and we're doing some cleanup today, kind of getting some stuff back that could concern and stuff like that. Stop signs, etc. We're getting them replaced, repaired. So still working on our chip seal program. We're hoping to get done tomorrow. If not, it'll probably be first of next week because talking rain on Wednesday, but we're getting along with that pretty well. So we did almost 60 miles, and so we'll hopefully get completed here real soon with that, so we can start our paving program. So working on that. I did submit a contract supplement agreement with BF&S on the Bridge 712 up here on the historical side to the auditor, so we can start the process of reviewing that to make sure it's adequate on making sure to get a contract agreement with them. So I did start that. And then also would like to have a financial letter, commitment letter. IDEM has a thing for the recycle center that we would like to apply for a grant. And basically, it's an 80-20 match. And if we receive that money, then we'd have to come up with a match part, which we were just going to use our money that we had allocated for equipment to make that match. This is an IDEM grant, with the ARPA money. This is another thing that we're going to try for. So I'd like to know if you could sign off on this, just saying basically that we'll make that financial agreement if we get the grant. Just a letter saying we'll financially make the 20% match. Sorry.
So we still got ARPA money in that account you could use for that match?
This is actually for machinery that goes in the building.
Okay.
It's not for the building part of it, yeah.
So this is an IDIM grant, where it's an 80-20 match.
Right.
And it's for equipment within.
Yes, balers that we use in the recycle center, so. I think the baler that we're looking at is right around 125,000, so we'd have to come up with 20% of that for the match, so.
You have the funds available.
Yeah.
Is there a motion? I'll make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Stewart, a second from Commissioner Polling to approve Mr. White applying for the IDIM grant, which is an 80-20 match. Are there any other questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And the next thing I had on my agenda was the ARPA money funds. Mr. Polling got a hold of me about a month ago, said that we had approximately $77,000 still left in there that has to be used for the recycle center building, etc. So we did some checking around. One thing we were kind of starting to have some issues is birds. We can't keep them out of the area in the building. So we got a quote on putting netting all in the top of the building, the sides, clear down to the floor. So that quote came in at $56,135. Hey, thank you. And then also we got a quote on a conveyor that's in the building, that's stationary with the building, for $21,500. It would be replacing one that's currently there. So I didn't know exactly, I don't know what you told me, but if it's a little bit more, we can come up with the rest of the funding out of our budget, if that's all right, so.
Angie, do we need to do anything with the ARPA dollars? I know Connor was working on
That's going to be up to the attorneys.
I mean, do we have to write a new letter?
I don't think there was one to begin with.
No?
I think it was just made a motion at a meeting. I don't believe there was any resolution or. Do you remember that, Ron?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you on that. I don't remember anything.
Yeah, as long as we're following procedures. I mean, I think that's something we're gonna have to look at for sure.
Yeah, that's what I checked with Angie to make sure that, she said as long as it was on the building, because that's what the original was for the building project. Because we put a new cover over it and everything else, so as long as we use it, because I was looking at buying another trailer to put out in the county, but then she said you can't do that with that money, so I was like, well, I guess I won't do that. So.
Well, I'm fine if it's all the film we ever use. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Just make sure that the attorneys sign off on that. So, I mean, we'll have to just make sure that we follow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is there a motion?
so moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Polling, a second from Commissioner Stewart to approve the request regarding the recycling center. Pending attorney approval. Are there any other questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All I have unless you gentlemen have. Thank you. I said that's all I have unless you gentlemen have anything.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item number 11, the health department.
I have nothing to report new unless you have questions for me.
No. Thank you. The Veteran Service Office. See you later. We'll move on to old business, item A under old business, affordable housing, CDBG, owner occupied rehabilitation program.
Hi guys, thanks for inviting me back. My name is Cody Ramos with the Affordable Housing Corporation, and I brought Lori Cox, our executive director. Did you guys get any flyers or information from Michaela? Yes. Okay, so I brought those for individuals that don't have them as well. Yeah. So, and then Lori's here to answer whatever questions you guys have.
So you're, like, what are you looking for from this body, I guess? Just commitment of the dollars, or?
Well, it doesn't have to be completely dollars, it can be in-kind match, so it's a 10%. The maximum that we can apply for is $500,000. We don't have to go that far, but we do need a 10% match from the county for whatever we apply for.
Okay, so is this for us? We're applying for the county people, or is this for the city and the county?
Nope, it's just for the county. The city has their own, which we have done before, 4 times, I believe. And with those 4, I want to say, I don't have the numbers in front of me, I've been on vacation, I'm sorry, but I think it's somewhere right around 90 that we've helped within the city. And we had not been able to partner to do anything in the county before, although there is a great need. So we would love to do that. And again, it can be in-kind, permits, inspections, things like that that we can work on. Again, we don't have to apply for the full 500,000. That's something that, we can work on together. The application is due in November. They would let us know if that was awarded by January. So we wouldn't be looking at anything that would be, in this year's budget, we would be forecasting for next year.
So today, you're just looking for kind of an approval from us to participate in the program.
Correct.
And then that's something we would have to go to the council.
Correct. Any questions? I don't see
I think it's a no-brainer. It sounds like a great program to me.
Helping the people.
Yeah.
Do we have the dollar amount that we want to ask the council for?
Well, I'd go for 50 grand.
Yeah.
I'd go for the big, they might not give it to you, it might be less, but at
Yeah.
least, you know what I'm saying?
If the maximum award is 500,000 and we need 10%, I would try to take advantage of as much as we can of it.
So we'll agree to be a part of the program, and then that will go to the council and ask for 50 grand.
Yep.
Yeah.
knowing it, with the, knowing it could be less.
Right, because they might not give us that much,
Yeah.
you might as well ask for the money.
Yeah.
And that's what most of the grant people stop anyway.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Pulling and a second from Commissioner Stewart to participate in the CDBG Owner Occupied Rehabilitation Program through the Office of Community and Rural Affairs. Then the amount is $50,000 pending county council's approval. We'll have to go to the county council to see, so, or up to, I guess we should say, $50,000. Are there any other questions or comments from the members? Sir, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the first item on our new business, item A, Auditor Angie Jarvis with the WOW contract.
Yeah, I just asked for permission to sign for our annual contract for our payroll and tax software vendor. That's a total budget of $163,443. It is paid for out of my budget.
Are there any questions or comments? That's been reviewed by legal.
I've seen the invoice. I haven't seen the actual fine print, but is this a renewal?
It's just a renewal.
Then it's fine.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Stewart, a second from Commissioner Pulling to approve the WOW and Associates renewal contract for the payroll and financial software. Are there any other questions or comments from the members? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move on to item B, Sheriff Garcia and Judge Williams with the Madison County juvenile contract. I know Mr. Meeks did reach out and said he'd be here right at 10:30 potentially, so you're free to go ahead if you'd like.
All right, good morning, and thank you for having us here this morning. Basically, what we're trying to do is, this contract will give us 5 beds in Madison County, which will help us out as far as transporting. Right now, we're transporting juveniles anywhere from, we've taken them from Lake County all the way down to Johnson County, Clark County. This will give us 5 beds in Madison County, which will definitely shorten the travel time for our transport deputies that are doing those transports. They will be charging us $273,750 per year for those 5 beds, which actually isn't a bad deal. We budget around $600,000 what we budgeted this year for out of county transports for juveniles. So basically, that's all I have, just asking for approval of the contract. Community Corrections is here if you guys have any specifics about juveniles. Just so you understand, what we do as a sheriff's office, we just transport the individuals. The Community Corrections, probation, they place the juveniles in those places that wherever they have beds open. So if you have any specific questions about that, they're here to answer those questions for you.
What are you averaging per month shipping juveniles?
Well,
I mean, how many people, I guess?
I want to say about a little over 5.
The year, daily population came up to 5.7 something. We were as low as 1.
Per month?
Per month, just daily, for the year. Daily population for the year came out to 5.17, I think it was. We were as low as 1 throughout 2025. We've been as high as 15. So I just want to stress the contract is for the 5 beds. If we have more than 5 kids in detention, there'll still be additional costs.
But what are we averaging, guys, per month? How many juveniles are you sending out?
152 days. You're wanting the number of kids or the number of beds?
Number of kids that you're shipping out per month.
Ran that number, Chuck. Just pulling. I don't think we ran that number. Somehow have a hard time finding that.
Or can you get back to me with it?
How many kids we're averaging sending out? Yes. We sent out 33 so far this year, 26. So in 6 months, we've sent 33. That's a total of 152 beds so far.
Our daily average is about 5 point whatever.
Well, between taking those times that we have 15 and those times we only have 1, the average, if you average that up for 365 days, it's 5.17. So far this year, we're running really well right now. So that's probably the only.
So you've shipped out 33 kids this year in 6 months.
Correct.
For the whole year.
Total kids, yes.
Are there any other questions or comments? I mean, we think that we'll fill, these beds are the priority, right?
Currently, we have 4 that are being detained. One of those 4 is currently at Madison County. The other 3 are not. So if the contract is inactive, we would move those kids into those beds, yes.
Well, I'm saying we're gonna use these beds first, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's important, you ain't gonna hold them to the end, right?
Nope. And one of the things that we wanted to make sure of when this contract was negotiated was that they would take every kid, whether, because some places won't, if a juvenile's charged with murder, they may not take them. So we wanted to make sure that they would take any of our kids that, no matter what the crime was, and they guaranteed that they will. So that will help us out with that, because sometimes if, like I said, I think we've had 2 or 3 that have been charged with murder, that sometimes it is hard to find beds for them. So we were able to do that. And then we were also, some of the things we found out in doing this is that some juvenile detention places are pretty quick to tell us to come pick them up because they're not behaving properly. They've guaranteed that won't be the case with them. They'd have to do something pretty major before they tell us they would no longer want them. But you do have some that if the kid just acts up and they just don't like it, we've had to go pick them up at other facilities. So we wanted to make sure those bases were covered. We're hoping if we could stay around the 5 juveniles, that would save the county quite a bit of money. Obviously, that's not guaranteed because you never know what these kids are going to do and how that number is going to fluctuate.
That's kind of why it's called a courtesy, because they're just giving you a courtesy to use these 5.
Right, so we would use, those would be our primary beds. Now, like I said, it would also cut down on travel time for our transport deputies and different things like that.
So it says courtesy, but we are guaranteed those 5. So as long as we don't have more than 5, then we've got a spot. So we went down there Monday, toured the facility. 4 of us from juvenile went down. So it's a good facility. They're running a pretty good, top-notch place.
The contract's been reviewed by legal.
Yes, I have.
Did you get the updated? We noticed that when she sent the contract for 5 beds, the second page had 4. So I've got that updated if you guys still have the, where it talks about 4.
Yeah, we need the updated.
Yeah.
Mine says 5.
So she sent us like a copy. But the original one that Judge Meeks sent out said.
Here says 4.
Here's.
He's got the right.
There's one that says 5 here.
Are there any other questions or comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Stewart, a second from Commissioner Polling to approve the reserve bed courtesy hold contract with Madison County. Are there any other questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Sheriff, make sure you sign it when it says 5.
Okay, we'll move on to the I-Record contract.
Yes, this is just to renew our maintenance agreement for 6 months as we kind of look at to where we want to go with our recording system. The iRecord is used, we have it in 3 different locations right now. That's used to record interviews that we do with suspects that are suspects of a crime. We bring them in, we interview them. We have an interview room at the sheriff's office. Outside of the jail, then we also use it in the breath test operating room. And we take individuals in there, and then we also have a recording device over in detectives. So what we're wanting to do is renew our maintenance agreement with them. We're kind of looking to see if we want to go a different direction. That's why we're only doing it for 6 months, but we have had cases in the past where something has happened to the recording. One of the issues we run into is sometimes when people take individuals into the breath test operating room, they leave the recording on. So if we're recording an interview in another location, that doesn't get downloaded, so we have had to use iRecord to go back in their system to retrieve those interviews for. So it's very important for us to have a system that's reliable, and they have been so far. So I just would ask for approval on that contract.
It's been reviewed by you.
Yes.
Are there any other questions from the members? I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Polling, a second from Commissioner Stewart to approve the WSI iRecord contract as presented. Are there any other questions from the members? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff. Yeah. Thank you, Sheriff. Okay, at this time, we're gonna start the public hearing regarding BW Construction and the BOT agreement. At this time, we'll go ahead and allow BW Construction to present.
Good morning, Mr. President, members of the board. My name is Max Adams of Barnes and Thornburg, serving as bond counsel, project counsel for County Jail Project. And before I turn it over to the BW team, just kind of in terms of order of operations, I think we hold the public hearing for after we present, BW gets a chance to present. After BW presents, I can present the resolution, do the public hearing, address any of those concerns, and then we put up the resolution for consideration if that works for Mr. Harker. So
Thanks for clarifying.
I'll turn it over to BW and for their
Thank you.
Morning, my name's Jay Troring with BW Construction. I'm here with members of our team from DCCM as well as Wigand. We're here not really to have a formal presentation per se, but to discuss and answer any questions that you may have with regard to the 2 jail project options that we've shared and given to you in the past to both the commissioners and the council. Over the last couple of months or so, BW, Wigand, and DCCM have been working together to convert the new jail building option budget to an actual GMP. And so this new GMP is based on design information from another jail project that fits the program that you're looking for and was previously designed by DCCM. We also acquired through Wigand subcontractor pricing to develop this GMP into today's market value. While no civil design was conducted in this GMP, we did have the aid of local subs and experts through Wigand to be able to make several educated assumptions to help predict those accurate costs for the site that we proposed there. Previous budget estimates for the new jail build were on the order of magnitude of around 74 to 75 million. And we're happy to report that the GMP came in under 70 million. We understand there may be a desire to incorporate Sheriff's Administration area into the project. While this hasn't been designed or included in the GMP yet, as we move through this final design, that is something we would propose that we do design into the project with the option to build it out as funds have become available through the project. And what I mean by that is there's several funds or buckets of money in the project through allowances and contingencies that, if they're not used, would be able to help pay for that Sheriff's Administration area. At this point, we're happy to answer any questions that you may have on those two GMP options.
So just to be clear, when you say GMP, the guaranteed max.
Guaranteed max price.
Yeah, so that, just for people that don't know, that means that you guys are basically saying you're not gonna go over this amount.
Correct. It's a guaranteed maximum price for the stated scope of work within that packet of information that we've given to you.
So this is actually just the pods, correct?
I'm sorry.
This is just the pods, and then you're talking about coming back and building the sheriff's thing later.
No, it would also include intake and booking, sally port, kitchen, laundry. You would have the jail administration staff also housed in that building as well. So it's really just sheriff administration that would not be included in that present design.
Which you'd have to be included because the sheriff runs the jail.
So there's a shelf space between the two pods on the second floor in the current design of what we've given to you. And so that's where we're allocating that proposed design be furthered during the design process for that Sheriff's Administration.
For proposal one, correct?
In the new build proposal one.
Okay.
There's plenty of space to accommodate, I believe.
Correct.
Just was never designed in the original build.
Correct. That's right.
And then there's how much contingencies?
Yeah, so roughly as outlined in here, we do have a design contingency of around just over 1 million. We have an escalation contingency, which is used to capture any pricing and tariff-related charges in the marketplace between now and when the design is finalized, of about $590,000. And a construction contingency, which is used actually during construction for any issues that arise, around 1.7 million. We do have a developer and soft cost contingency as well, which is around $440,000.
It's my understanding that we would approve any of those dollars being used, correct?
That's correct. All this is open process, or transparent process. You'll have eyes on how that's all used. And ultimately, unused funds are yours to use at your discretion.
I know this is one of the questions that was brought up as well, when it comes to fire suppression and sewer septic at the Garthwaite site. Increased the cost substantially because of the not adequate amount of water pressure of the lines. I know Gas City has committed to helping eat those costs. I know, so there's some cost reductions there that could be made as well. I don't have those off the top of my head, but just something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. As presented here, we tried to accommodate that site as best we could, knowing that we'd have to possibly include a sanitary lift station as well as booster pumps for the water supply. So if that's able to be mitigated through that Gas City, then you have some savings.
When it comes to location, this body holds certificates of other properties such as the Dana site or even Carson's at the mall site. I think, do we have active products too, I believe. So, I mean, there's some other locations that said jail could be built. Does that hurt or help?
And how fluid is that? How, like, if we wanted to move the project to another location, how?
The good thing is we've not designed anything on the site that we proposed anyways. And so if we were to change sites, we basically could take the amount that we've got into the GMP and basically convert it to an allowance. And so then as we go through and further design on another site, we finalize that allowance bucket, and that's how we would proceed from here. It doesn't necessarily slow the process if everything moves through how it should, because like I said, we haven't done any design on the current site anyways.
Is there any knowledge of any mitigating factors on those sites? I.e. brownfield, i.e. wetlands, i.e. anything of those nature? Those need to be investigated prior, because you could walk into a little bit of a quagmire, with a brownfield site, for sure.
You got a lot of concrete on one side, and there was that concrete's 2.5, 3 feet thick.
Again, those are all site things that you could work with, quite frankly, when you're doing this type of product, because you're not going into the ground with a basement, right, on design. So I'm not worried about so much that. What I'm worried about is a brownfield, like what we have going on in Noblesville with the Firestone site, which had a lot of PCB materials there. We needed to get EPA approval, which is taking us 2.5 years. So those are the mitigating factors you have on site. So that can be investigatory, and it can be done pretty quickly, even from a desktop environmental review, to see what's there. The point is, we don't know until we get there, but I think Jay and his team at BW have done a really good job making an allowance for site and standard site. We've done this enough times that we know really what we need to do. So without any other mitigating factors that may occur there, we feel very comfortable with the pricing we've given you.
Yeah, and assuming the site is in adequate size to fit the footprint of the building and all that too.
Right.
So
I was just making the comment that if the council doesn't agree with the site location, that's not a deal breaker for me. I think there's plenty of other places that why it might cost more money. We could make it work. If that makes sense.
Mr. President, I want to be clear. So in our packet, we have a recommendation from the County Evaluation Jail Committee to move forward with awarding the project to BW. Who is on our, can you tell the public who's on this jail committee?
I don't have the list in front of me.
I don't either, so.
I know Mr. Adams, I believe we had conversation with Mr. McWhirter.
So the written recommendation you have in front of you is sort of a check the box thing for the BOT statute. My understanding is that the Jail Evaluation Committee approved these two proposals that you have in front of you to be reviewed at this meeting, obviously, and to be considered as part of the resolution. So I put together the evaluation just sort of based on the information I had to make sure that we are in compliance with the BOT statute and aren't getting hung up at any point in this process. So
The jail committee that you've been working with has approved, basically is okay with these two options, is moving it forward to us today.
Yes, that's my understanding.
Is there any part of the project that where we as a county could trim the cost, such as like site prep or if we needed to utilize some highway equipment or hauling the stone or whatever? I mean, is that something that BW would be willing to work with the county on? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. On projects in the past, we're used to doing that, where the county may come in and want to do paving or do something of their own. Landscaping sometimes is another option. or there's soft costs, right? Like there's equipment that goes into the building if you wanted to procure them on your own, or if you had other equipment coming from another facility, we can be flexible in working through all of that.
Are there any other questions or comments? Do you want to go ahead and move on?
Thank you, Mr. President. Have before you a resolution approving a BOT agreement with respect to the new county jail facility and approving matters related thereto. So to walk through, sort of the BOT process, where we've been and where we are now. The county sort of, approved the BOT to approve the county to use the BOT process to procure this project. Then issued an RFPQ to receive proposals for the project. County decided to move forward with BW through a scoping period. That scoping agreement's been agreed to and executed. Brought us to where we are today. The jail evaluation committee has sort of been through a lot of different options in terms of, build options for the project and how we move forward. You have in front of you two options. I understand maybe the new build is, where we're considering, but the resolution does approve, the commissioners want to recommend to the council that we move forward with the new build option or the other option, which is, the D-home renovation addition, GMP. So resolution does a few things to get into it. Section 1, it approves the adoption of the BOT process and the BOT statute, kind of like the written recommendation, sort of a check the box item for the BOT process. Section 2 accepts the proposal of BW to procure the project. Section 3 authorizes the Commissioner President to negotiate a final BOT agreement. We've been in process of drafting that agreement. Once we get this final approval, we'll sort of start working with BW to sort of hash out the finer details of what that agreement looks like. Section 4 is a new section, I believe, that was added. It wasn't part of my original resolution, but I understand that there's a new section 4 that clarifies the resolution does not actually approve the financing. This is just approving the GMP and the project proposal. County will still go through the proper procedures to secure that funding, including any necessary council approvals. Last thing I wanted to highlight, so on the Exhibit A, I sort of outlined the two GMP proposals that we put forth to the council or to the commissioners. Depending on which one you guys want to go with, I'd recommend, checking those boxes and we sort of work with the council to, move that project forward, that recommendation forward to them. So happy to answer any questions, but that's the resolution in front of you.
Mr. President, would you like me to read the resolution? Yes. Whereas Indiana Code 5-23 is amended authorizes the governmental body of the subdivision to adopt certain powers with respect to the entry into an operating agreement and or BOT agreement in order to achieve flexibility, economy, and accountability in constructing and or operating public facilities and undertaking public works. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of Grant County, Indiana has given consideration to entering into a public-private partnership agreement under the Act to provide for the development, acquisition, construction, improvement, and or equipping of all or any portion of a new county jail facility and or the development, acquisition, construction, improvement, and or equipping of the existing county jail facility and any additions thereto, together with ancillary facilities and related costs, including the cost of financing the city, all to be located within Grant County, Indiana. And whereas pursuant to the Act, the county has solicited responses from potential developers for the design, construction, operation, maintenance, and transfer to the county of the project through a request for proposals and qualifications process pursuant to the Act, and received multiple responses to the RFPQ. And whereas in connection with the RFPQ for the project, the county previously appointed an RFPQ committee in order to assist the county in evaluating the responses to the RFPQ. And whereas the board, acting as the board under the Act, has considered the feedback from the RFPQ committee, has reviewed the terms and conditions of the proposals based on the criteria set forth in the RFPQ and the Act, and pursuant to Indiana Code 5-23-5-8 and Indiana Code 5-23-5-9, now desires to accept the recommendation of the RFPQ committee that the proposal of Build BW LLC, together with any affiliated entities thereof, be accepted and that the BOT agreement for the project be awarded to the company. And whereas the county has filed the RFPQ committee's written explanation of the basis for the recommendation, made such written explanation available for inspection and copying, and caused a notice of public hearing on the recommendation to award the BOT agreement for the project to the company, containing the information required by the Act to be published as required by Indiana law. And whereas a public hearing was conducted on the date hereof pursuant to the Act, at which the county heard all persons interested in the proceedings and considered any written remonstrances and objections, if any. And whereas the county now desires to select the company's proposal in accordance with the RFPQ and the Act, and to authorize the president of the board to negotiate a final BOT agreement between the county and the company for the design, construction, operation, maintenance, and transfer to the county of the project, with a final guaranteed maximum price not to exceed the amount set forth in Exhibit A attached hereto. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Grant, Indiana as follows. 1. Pursuant to Indiana Code 5-23-1-1, the board, as the legislative body of the county, hereby ratifies and approves the adoption of the provisions of the Act. 2, the board hereby accepts the proposal of the company for the project. 3, the board hereby authorizes the president of the board to negotiate a final BOT agreement between the county and the company in a form consistent with the Act, and the advice of legal counsel as may be necessary, desirable, or appropriate to accomplish the purposes of this resolution, with any such approval to be conclusively evidenced by the president of the board's execution thereof. The guaranteed maximum price for the design, construction, operation, maintenance, and transfer to the county of the project shall not exceed the amount set forth in Exhibit A attached hereto. 4, fiscal and financing contingency. Nothing in this resolution shall be construed to create or authorize any debt, lease obligation, installment payment obligation, appropriation obligation, tax levy, pledge of revenues, reimbursement obligation, or other financial obligation of the county, except to the extent separately approved by the board, the Grant County Council, and any other body or official whose approval is required by law. The county's obligations under any BOT agreement shall be subject to all required appropriations, financing approvals in compliance with applicable debt, lease, budget, tax, and public finance laws. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its adoption by the board. Passed and adopted by the Board of Commissioners of Grant County, Indiana, this Monday of June 2026.
I got a question. What specifically would the board president be negotiating? Is this a typical?
Yes, I mean, if you can imagine, BOT agreement is, I've seen as short as 10 pages, as long as over 100 pages. It's a lot of detail, a lot of different, considerations that maybe don't go directly into price, but maybe just different negotiation points that go into that. So things that, Barnes and Thornburg as bond counsel would be negotiating with BW for project delivery.
Plan where it says, whereas the very last sentence, I'm just wondering if we should make that the Board of Commissioners.
I'm comfortable with that. It's kind of a county by county situation. Some folks want to designate one point person, some counties want to do the whole. I have no preference that way. I'm happy if the board adopts it with that amendment, subject to Mr. Harper's.
You can have it negotiated by the president to be submitted to the commissioners for approval.
Is that what the last paragraph is basically saying?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other questions or comments from the members?
If there are no other comments, then I think public hearing and then can consider adoption.
Go ahead and open it up for the public hearing regarding this resolution. What number will it be? 6. If you would come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Not seeing anybody. Mr. Duke.
Good morning, gentlemen. Michael Duke, Grant County, Indiana. First, I'd like to ask a question. Who was on the county evaluation committee? I heard a couple of names, but I don't know that everybody heard. So could you please repeat who was on the evaluation committee?
I believe Mr. Kitts, Mr. Lemming, Mr. McCourt, the sheriff, Judge Meeks, myself. Who am I missing?
I believe that's everyone.
So that's the jail study committee. That was the term that has been used through county council and commissioner meetings prior. So that's why I'm wanting to clarify where the different name came from. And given the letter that described where in 2024 when the committee was formed, it gives the illusion it was something different than the jail study committee. I would just like to say, kind of as a reminder to history, two of the commissioners sitting here today are here by way of the results of the general election of 2024, where representations were made by those individuals about the jail issue, about other community development initiatives, but in particular on the jail issue. Representations were made and remembered to be that we didn't need a new jail, that the existing jail could be renovated, could be maintained, could be maintenanced. So that election and the results of it speak to, I think, the minds of the voters and a good segment of the voters and citizens of the county. The results of the primary election here in 2026 also kind of resonate on that same issue of the county citizens cannot afford the burden that the cost of a new jail facility is going to place upon the taxpayers' pocketbooks. Just as a reminder, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dugan. Is there any other public comment? Okay, go ahead and close this public comment portion.
Shane.
One more. I'll reopen it.
Thank you. Hi, Randy, I live 8560 South, Wheeling Pike, Fairmount. You know, I don't know how close we are to a decision, but I think there are some loose ends that we probably need to address. If we were to build a new facility, you know, what's the cost associated with the old facility? What are we going to do with it? Leave it there? We're going to demo it? You know, what's going to happen with it? If you go to Garthwaite Road, is there a number configured into the transportation of the inmates for court services here? It was brought up today that we transport, you know, the juveniles back and forth, and there is a cost associated with that. So I think there are some hidden costs that we need to consider, you know, if we are considering that option one. My question to B&W would be, is 20% a typical contingency fund number for a project? I guess if I take the contingencies that you mentioned, look at the cost of option one, that's about 20%. Is that?
So yeah, typically when we We have a conceptual design. Contingencies run from anywhere from 10 to 15% just on construction costs alone. Because we're also a developer, there are soft costs incorporated into the jail that are equipment related. And there is a contingency for the soft costs as well. So that's kind of how you get to that point. So yes, because we haven't finalized design, there is that need to protect the county from any design that develops during the course of the process, so that you're not burdening above and beyond the GMP price that we're giving now.
So what would be a typical project utilization of that 20%? And where I'm headed with this, you mentioned that the contingency could be used for the sheriff's office areas. If you use that contingency for that, how much more in contingency can we anticipate to cover the project unknowns?
That's a difficult question to answer, but at the end of the day, the contingency usage is at the discretion of the county. It's really their money, and so that process is transparent. All those funds are laid out in a tracking mechanism that are able to be verified through the county stakeholders. And so any unused funds at the end of the day can be allocated to whatever they like, if it's the sheriff's administration or anything else.
Well, I don't think we can have it without the sheriff's administration, can we, Sheriff?
Well, I mean, technically you could. I mean, it'd be nice for us to be out there, but as long as our jail administrator's out there to run the day-to-day operation of the jail, could be done. Is it the best way to do it? Probably not.
So what about the rehabilitation and the other programs we've talked about over the months?
No, those will still be out there.
They'll still be out there, okay. Looking at proposal 2, you've got a $5 million plus number for the pod renovation. How many beds was that going to include? And if that was an $8 million facility to start with when it was built, it appears to me that $5 million is quite a bit. What are you going to do to consume $5 million?
You know when it was built?
2001?
25 years of pricing escalation, going through COVID. There's quite a bit of cost escalation that's occurred through that time.
So how many beds was that $5 million going to generate?
You happen to have that statistic? We don't have that, I'm sorry. Don't have that statistic offhand.
Because it's my understanding that we felt like it could be approved with just bunking those pod areas.
One of the problems we ran into was the outside walls are structural walls and not non-structural walls, which created a problem in terms of turning that into vertical. In other words, making a mezzanine area over there. So it's had to be reshored, restructured, et cetera. So that added a lot of cost trying to do that, as well as every one of the MVP systems in that building would have to be redone.
What's an MVP?
Sorry, mechanical, electrical, plumbing. Right, they all have to be brought back up to code. So currently they're not within code, so they have to be brought back up to code.
Based on capacity of inmates or just?
Based on present day.
Talking about HVAC?
Yeah.
HVAC systems?
Yeah, standards. We can't put in something that the state says it's not meeting the current requirement for that living area and that amount of people area. You have to bring it into a code. It has to be code compliant. So you've got to bring everything up to speed. And the cost escalation between 5 or 20.
So new HVAC system is figured into that?
Electrical, security, structural.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Are there any other public comments?
Lily Early, Marion, Indiana. Just a quick question based on Mr. Atkins' questions. Didn't the last meeting you guys just approve a new boiler over there or swamp cooler for the D-home chiller? Okay, so there's one thing that wouldn't have to be replaced because if you're putting a new one in, it's obviously going to be up to code, right? Okay.
Well, it's sized for the current facility. So.
Okay, but, okay, thank you. So my question is that when was the D-home shut down again? Tell me again, I'm sorry, I can't remember, I apologize.
2002.
2021?
May of 2021.
So, and in 2021, it was up to code, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in 4 years, has code changed that much that we need to replace absolutely everything?
No, and that building's grandfathered in too.
So if it's grandfathered in, then that's a huge savings that could be cut off of that 5 million automatically.
Correct.
Okay. I'm sorry. Did someone have a comment that I couldn't hear? Okay, because I just want to make sure I'm correct. So, so on that, so, and then again, remind the public how much we're still paying on the current jail? Because it's not paid off?
I don't know the figure. I don't know.
Okay, so we don't know how much we're still owing on that jail from its last renovations. So if I'm correct, I think it was quite a bit. So even at this, even at the new adjusted GMP amount at just under 70 million, you've got interest into that, correct? Because we wouldn't get a tax-free loan, I'm assuming, or interest-free loan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's lots of things there to consider that we have to ask in on either one of these proposals. So you're asking the taxpayers of Grant County, even after the 3.5 million, I think that the county's going to start losing this coming year, and then additional adding in the current jail to pay, let's look at it on the low side, $4 million a year and another payment. And yet people are struggling in this county to put food on their table. Do we really think that's a smart thing to do? Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
Great.
Good morning. Bill Creech, Marion, Indiana. I had a couple comments. All this is very interesting on how you're going to fund it and which option and all that. But I think that overarching thing for me is, are we solving the problem? The real problem is that have we got all the stakeholders together to actually solve the problem with whether it's crime, drugs, rehabilitation, and all that, and figure out how we're going to use this facility. I'm more interested in what the action plan is. If we got this facility, what we're going to do in the rehab part of it, or how we're going to utilize that, and hearing how it's going to be utilized. You can have a building, but how is it all going to play into place? And are you going to save anything? Making sure that we don't have repeat offenders, and that we have truly addressed the kind of 3 buckets where you just have somebody made a mistake and they're going to, maybe it's drug related and they're going to be rehab, or you have the people that just keep going over and over and over with the repeat offenders, and how you're going to deal with that. I know you got the court system, and this may not be, this is not my area, so I can't talk. But when are we going to get all the stakeholders together to put an inclusive plan together that's going to do this? Sheriff Garcia made weeks ago, a whole nice presentation on the history of how many people, inmates we had, and then it went back down, and then back up, and back down, and why that all happened. My thing is, if we don't address all these key critical points of how we're going to attack this, and, not just allow the criminal element of being able to use rehabilitation as a legal defense. It seems like that's coming into play. Everything's a mental health issue. And is it really a mental health issue, or is it just some people are just bad actors and not doing that. Those decisions and criteria of how you do that, to me, needs to be addressed. And we just don't need to build something, because if you build it, sorry, but the old saying is, build it and they will come. If you don't have the critical success factors in place to make sure that the foundation is laid with everybody on the same page to kind of reduce the population and or whatever we need to do to reduce the crime, reduce the thing, and we could have a great facility. It's just how's it going to be used? And what is that plan? We're in the middle of the ocean swimming to whether or not we need a new jail or not need a new jail. We need to know, if we did have this is what we would do. If we had this one, this is what we would do. And if we had this one, this is what we're going to do. And this is a support system that you have in place for each individual option. And I know this is more about, can we afford it or not afford it? But that is all affordability, because all those programs cost taxpayer money. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Amen.
Is there any other public comment? Okay, I'll go ahead and close the public comment portion.
Mr. President, if I could add one additional comment. As part of this resolution, we're, sort of adopting a GMP and then putting that recommendation to council. So for Exhibit A, I have the two proposals that were submitted to the commissioners for the project. One's the new build, one's the home renovation. So if you want to submit both, I, recommend, checking both of those. If you want to proceed with the new build or the home renovation, I suggest checking those and then consider the options.
So I want to clarify something just for the record here. Back in July of last year, the county council implemented a correctional rehab tax at 0.2%. So as far as, the burden on the taxpayers, we are already paying for a jail. That income that tax will generate, I hate to say income, but that's the terminology we can use. It'll generate about $3 million a year to this county. So the people of this county, we're already paying for a facility. We just don't have a facility. Now, that money can only be spent on certain things within, state statute. So at that time, during that meeting, the county council told us to bring a project, and you can go back and look at the video, between 60 and 70 million. So I think we've got two projects here that both fit those guidelines. Now, things have changed, right? I mean, everybody, has their own opinion, right? And at the last county council meeting, I did present the county council with numbers, because, there's been talk of opening the juvenile detention center, right, as a holding area. And so when I done the cost estimate, it's a little over $2 million just in yearly cost to open that facility. And so right now, we're paying about $1 million to house inmates out of county, okay? So you got to remember too, the detention center was designed for juveniles, right? So there's a lot of work that would have to be done to bring it up to adult standards. And so from a cost perspective, the detention center has never been a viable option. Even if you say you go from, let's say you open the detention center, you had 22 additional staff. That would put us at 66 total staff. With the new jail bill, we'd be at 44 total staff. And so again, just from dollars and cents, that doesn't quite make sense. I think it's always going to be cheaper to house inmates out of county. And so I would say, let's say this body is not in charge of the finance, right? The county council is the fiscal body. They're going to determine whether we can afford it or not. But the county council has already implemented the correctional rehab tax to be able to fund a project. I just want to make that clear. And so I think we've got two good options. I think one's better than the other for sure. I think that I heard maybe the president opened up the straight. Maybe we can get some lower interest rates. We don't know here, but if we could get in that 3.8% on the bond, I think that it becomes more palatable. You got to remember, if we're gonna generate $3 million of income, right, with this tax that's in place already, we're already paying it, everyone in here that lives in Grant County, and you're gonna have $1 million out of county, that's $4 million that you're gonna be roughly could put toward a payment. So I think it's definitely affordable, but that's not up to this body. This body is to determine, is the safety of our officers, is the condition of our jail, is all those things that we've heard for years. Is it time or not time? But ultimately, this project's going to hinge on funding from the county council. And that's where I'm under the opinion that we send both projects to the council and maybe prioritize one over the other. But ultimately, it's going to be their decision on whether or not they want to fund it. And so I'm going to open the floor.
Was that a motion that you made?
I mean, that's a motion, I guess, yeah. I mean, the motion would be to approve resolution number 6 and send all the projects to the county council.
Well, I'll make the motion that we approve resolution 6-2026 with to send them both proposals. Proposal number 1 would be my priority and proposal number 2 would be second. But I'll put that in the form of a motion.
I'll second. I have a motion from Mr. Stewart, second from myself to approve resolution number 6. As Mr. Stewart stated, are there any other questions or comments from the members?
Guys, better listen to them people. You're not working for the people, Shane. Mr. Duke said it best. We got elected in 2024 not to do this, to rehab the buildings. You keep talking about that jail tax. We didn't do that. The other commissioners went behind us, got a lobbyist when we was on the council. We had to implement it. But we also knew we had to fix all these buildings.
That's your opinion.
Right, but I'm just saying, we're not working for the people if you ain't listening to these people. And he's right, in 2026, that handed it again, saying the people don't want this. So that's all I got.
Anything else? I think the only other comment I would make is that, there are some pending lawsuits. One regarding the jail, and this jail project's not unique to our county. A lot of the counties across the state have faced this. And I want to say that if we choose to lead ourselves down the path of a new jail, it'll be a huge benefit to the taxpayers because we're controlling the costs. If we go down the route of the other counties, like I believe Howard, we won't get a choose. And it will be way more than $70 million. And so I think that the taxpayers know enough to vote us in, to give us good judgment and wisdom. And I think that we're protecting the taxpayers. We've done our part, but ultimately it'll come down to the funding through the county council. So I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Opposed.
Motion carries. Thank you. At this time, I'll go ahead and open it up for public comment portion of the meeting. If you would come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Please approach the podium when recognized by the president. State your name and address, and comments or concerns, no complaints, accusation, or name calling regarding personnel can be allowed during this public discussion time, and I'll allow a limit of 2 minutes. I'm not seeing anyone, so we'll go ahead and close the public comment.
Mr. Middleworth, outstanding.
Oh.
Hello again, gentlemen. And I don't want this to be interpreted to be any kind of form of sour grapes in any way, shape, or form. But I have made this comment to the county council at one point in the past 6 months. And in recognition that you gentlemen are in charge of the maintenance of buildings and facilities for the county, I think it would behoove the development of a long-term maintenance program and a correction program and a preventive maintenance program for the existing facilities, i.e. the jail and the detention center that we have. I'll just observe that in my background in criminal justice and correction from a long time ago, but I'm cognizant that the state of Indiana still operates the Michigan City Penitentiary, the penitentiary that is in Templeton, the penitentiary that the other correctional facilities in the state. Some of them are old. A couple of them are well over 75 or 80 years old. They haven't been rebuilt. They've been maintained. I would submit to you that maintaining the facilities that we have is a judicious use of the public safety funds that are being generated by the tax that Mr. Middleworth referred to being added to the burden of the taxpayers within the last 6 months by the county council, which was initiated, as have been said, by the previous commissioners through the back door and without transparency to the public for any input before that government and finance law was enacted. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment?
Just a good question that came tonight, and maybe this is probably maybe more of a question for Sheriff Garcia, but does the city of Marion also use our county jail to house temporarily? Just a question.
Yeah, the county, each county sheriff's responsible for the jail. So all the city uses, every city police department brings their people to the sheriff's department.
So should we also be then maybe asking the city of Marion to pony up some money?
Any other public comment?
Ed Bounds, 1526 South Florence Street, Marion, Indiana, Grant County. I understand the costs that everybody's been discussing, but what about the cost of the people who are struggling with addiction in this community? I have not heard a legitimate program for people with drug addiction or mental health. Maybe it don't mean enough to some of you. Maybe it do. But I want you to understand the people of Grant County do not want this. They have spoken in not only one, but 2 elections, and they're willing to speak in more. The people do not want this. They want their leaders to help, to participate, and act like you care. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Okay, at this time, the public comment portion will be closed. The county offices will be closed Friday, the 19th for Juneteenth holiday, and Friday, July 3rd for observance of Independence Day. Our next regular county commissioner meeting will be Monday, July the 6th at 10 a.m. Right here in the county council chambers. We'll be in recess until then. Thank you. Have a great day.